Right. Hi, there's someone from Florida. Hi, Helen. I'm just excited to do this, and I did quite a little bit of prep work, so I hope it will. I won't bore you with drying and things. So that's what I was doing this whole morning. Um, I just need to put on my apron, then I'll start. Okay, I'm a notorious messy scrapbooker and painter, so I have to wear my apron. And I just want to get a little bit more light on my working space. I don't know if that worked, but hopefully it did. Okay. Um, right, so we are going to do an art journal page, and I am not going to I'm not going to say now, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but we did this watercolor not too long ago in a little page, and I have a free tutorial. It's just a previous live video. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this as our centerpiece for our page today. I did cut it out, just roughly, so I didn't do it too neatly. Okay, so I have this old book that I am using. It's just the old book that I bought from a second-hand bookstore. Hi, there's someone from South Africa. Hi, Christine. I'm so happy that people are watching all over the world, and thank you for telling me where you're from. Okay, I did use the Kuretake watercolors, yes, to paint these. So there's a question from Heidi. Okay, so I'm going to use this as my background, these papers as my background. And so what I'm doing first is I'm just going to spray the back of them. So we are going to, and I'm just spraying it with a little bit of water. So then I'm just going to put it aside. And this just helps with the adhesive process. So it, I don't know, I like it because then the paper is a little porous. So once we put the adhesive on there, we are just, it's adhere a little easier. This is matte medium, and I'm just layering it on my page generously. So now I'm just going to paint it, and then I'm going to stick the pages on there. So this is very, very, very simple to do, and I'm just going to lay it down, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And I have a little piece that I cut, well, not cut, I tore it in half. And then I'm just going to you know, but as I'm painting it, I can read the words, and I think it's about Gogo and Lust for Life. It's a book it's Vincent van Gogh's life, I think. So this is very appropriate that I'm using this art book as my background. Okay, so I have prepped a page that's dry. So you want to let this dry completely. And then once it's dry, we are going to just prime it. So the priming is big for two reasons. The first reason is I want to just push back the words a little. And the second reason is then it forms a little barrier between the media that we're going to put on here and the background. Oh, there's someone from Brazil. Hi, Clarissa. I'm so happy that you came in to visit me. All the way from Brazil. That is so cool. Okay, so now I'm just priming it. I'm using a card. You can use your husband's credit card. That works great. And then you can just scrape the gesso on the page and then just scrape it off again. So you just want to cover it from side to side, and you can see already how lovely the background is shaping up to be when you just add a little bit of gesso over the words, and you can see just push it back a little bit. So there's a little bit left on my card, and you can either put it back in a bottle or you can just rinse it off with a little bit of water or something, or a baby wipe or something. So I usually just slide it back into the bottle. Okay. I'm seeing if there's, yeah, so, oh, and from Edmonton. Hi. So if you have questions, ask me, and if you can not hear me, if the sound is bad, you have to let me know as well, because I can't hear myself. Right on. Now, well, this is drying. We are going to start painting. This dries very quickly, so I'm not even going to wait too long for this to dry. And what we're going to do now is something really, really fun. So I made a cut file for you that I will have on my website, iHeartStudio, a little later, with all these little leaves. And we're just going to place them on our page. And I had in mind that I want to use this image with it, so it has to be almost like it's coming out of the illustration. So I'm just going to position these in a way that just, yeah, like that. So this is more or less how I want it to be. And then I'm going to mix a little paint. So I'm going to mix this beautiful deep violet color. Ah, thank you for your kind comments. You know what, it's because of things like that I just keep on making art. I really appreciate all the kind words. I truly, truly do. Okay, so now I'm just using a paintbrush, and I'm just going to mix in a little bit of this. This might be a little bit too much violet, so I'm just going to put it aside. And then I'm just going to mix in a little bit with this white paint. So you get this glorious, glorious pink. Or this almost like a purple pink, but I love it. Love, love, love it. Okay, so a few things. My idea with this page is to have layers and layers and layers of washes. And the second thing is I really, really want it to look very romantic, because I think this watercolors is just soft and feminine, and I just want to have it very romantic. So I'm aiming, that's my goal. I don't know if we'll get there, but we'll see. So now I'm painting around the leaves, and I didn't adhere the leaves at all with anything. I'm just holding it down. Once the paint gets on there, it actually sticks down by itself a little, so that's kind of nice. And you don't want too much paint on your brush, because otherwise it will smudge and go in underneath your little stencil. So this is almost like a positive stencil, not a negative one. And I'm really going to try and maintain my border around my page. So adding a little bit more paint, and then I'm just going to paint around these little leaves. And you can see I'm almost dabbing the paint with the paintbrush. I'm dabbing it. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same on the other side. So the leaves that I use in my preparation pages might be a little bit smaller than these ones. So when you do it, if you do it with me, then you might want to, I don't know, maybe they're not too small, so, or too big. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so you just want to dab it through, and you want to make sure that you paint all the areas around this positive. Let's name it a positive stencil because it's actual. So I'm just going to dab and paint, dab and paint. And you'll see how cool it looks when I pick it up. It's really, really such a cool technique. And you know what? If you don't have a silhouette cameo, you can cut out leaves and put them down. Or you can actually use real leaves. That is the coolest thing. That would be cool. I'm so thankful I thought of that just now. Okay, so now I'm just going to pick him up. And look how lovely it looks. And if you're careful with them, you can see I used maybe a little bit too much paint there, but it's okay. We are going to use them again, so don't throw them away. So just put them aside. And this is fine. This is perfect for what we are going to do. You can actually, instead of a paintbrush, you can use a makeup sponge as well. So that might work great too. But I love, love, love this. Look how cool this is. So now you can see, if we put our illustration there, you can start to see what my idea is. But we're going to do a lot more on this page. So next thing we're going to do is, now we're going to start working with our washes. And I have this cool little stencil, just little polka dots, or you can use any other stencil. But the reason why I'm using a stencil, even though you'll see it's not going to work, but it's on purpose, is because it contains the effect that I want. Okay, let me do it and then I'll explain more. So now I'm going to paint with, wait, let me just figure out a way to clear my desk here. We're going to paint with this lovely orange, and my brush is fairly wet, and I'm just going to paint through the stencil with watercolors. Now you might think, oh, this is not going to work because it's going to flow, and you're right, it is. And then I have still my palette from the other day, and I'm just going to add a lot of water to the pink, and I just want to paint a little bit with the pink. Now look what happens when I pick it up. It's a mess, but that's exactly what I want because it contains it, right? So now I'm just going to put it down again, and you'll see how lovely it looks once it's dry. So now I'm just going to paint with the pink again, and then lovely, lovely orange at the bottom. And voila, now you can see there's a little bit of a pattern happening, and I'm loving this. Okay, now I'm just going to add a little bit more pink, and I'm just going to tap it over my finger, and I'm just going to add a little bit of splatters to it. This one was too much, so I'm just going to take that one off with a cloth. And now you want to let this dry completely. Hi Suze, I'm so happy. She's all the way from England. Say Harry Potter. So I love Susie. So I'm so happy to see you, girl. It's, oh wow, lovely, lovely friends. Been friends for a long time. Okay, online friends. So now I'm going to sit it aside. and I have a page that's dry already, so you can see that I've done my homework. And you can see how lovely it looks. I'm going to pick it up when it's dry. It's absolutely gorgeous, the texture that's happening. I'm loving, loving, loving it. Okay, so the page is curling up a little bit, and that's not a problem, because when you're done and everything is dry, you can just put it under books and just stretch it out, and it will flatten really nice. So you can also see how lovely this pink works with the stencil. So I'm super happy and very, very excited. Okay, now I'm going to use Prussian blue, and we are going to have some fun with a little bit of Prussian blue. So I'm just using Liquitex Prussian blue, and I am going to just put a little line there, and then with a very big soft brush that is fairly wet, I'm just going to paint with it. And I'm going to paint around my leaves there, and so my idea is to have this blue come up above the illustration and beneath it. So I have to go a little higher, and this is just a wash because I haven't put any more ink on. And now I'm just going to add a little bit more water, and I'm going to paint a little lower. And then I'm going to do something fun. So now my brush is fairly wet. And when you lift up your page, you will have a few paint drops. And now I'm just adding a little bit more water. Okay, so I figured out that you can actually direct your drips very well. So add more water, and then just see if you can cool it up right there where you want that, where you want the drop to flow. So I'm gonna add a little bit more water on this side and see if I can just get this one. You probably can't see it because it's underneath my okay, there is lots of paint there. There you go. So you can actually see how we can direct our drips. You know, you actually have a lot of control. It's almost like balancing a ball on a flat surface, except that now you're just curving the surface. Now, if you let this dry, it will dry beautifully, except that I don't want my paint to be this dark. Okay, so I'm just gonna release the paint to flow back a little, and then I'm taking a paper towel and I'm just going to dab a little bit of the paint away. That's maybe a little too much. So what I do is with a medium wet brush, I'll just paint back. So that's all. It's not rocket science. And still you can see how lovely the layers are drying. So I'm going to put this one away because this is still wet, and I don't want to use my dryer even though it's just here. I don't want to use it because it makes noise. And I'm going to take my dry page. So again, here you can see how lovely it looks when it dries. I love this texture that's happening everywhere, and I just love it. So again, if I put my illustration on, you can start to see where this is going, right? Okay, so next up we are going to use a little bit of light molding paste, and I'm using this cool stencil, and I am going to just do it here and there. And then the other thing that you can also download with the leaves is the title for this page called The Light. And I am going to place mine right here. but I don't want to be putting this stencil over molding paste because I'm going to use molding paste. So I'm just going to mark the bottom of my stencil so I know not to put any molding paste in this area. Okay, oh, here's the stencil, and now let's do the light molding paste. So like I've said, this is a cake decorator. When you so this is a cake spatula, but when you do art, it's a palette knife. So we're using our palette knife. Now, I always teach that you use broad strokes. There you go, Suze. I can do the British accent. Broad strokes. And I am going to, but this time I'm not. I'm just going to use little strokes so that I don't want to have this everywhere. I just want a few lines like that. I just want a few lines, and I'm going to lift it up, and I'm going to squeeze it up through again and lift it up. And then I just want to do some here and there, not everywhere. Okay. And then I'm just going to do one more line here. So, on my other pages, I actually did some here, but I decided afterwards that this is not a good idea, because if you want to do journaling, then this would be the ideal place to do it. You can't write over some texture, so just leave that empty. So do what I say and not what I do, if you understand. Okay, let me just see some questions. Oh, okay. So oh no, I can't do more accents, but I'll get Yana in here. She's brilliant with accents. Okay, you can see it's coming together, right? Okay, so now you want to let this dry, and then we'll go on to the next phase. And this is the fun part. Now we're gonna get dramatic. You can see my molding paste is nice and dry, and I did all of this morning, so it doesn't take forever to dry. And now we are going to play with some darker paint. Okay, now this is called Deep Violet. Beautiful, beautiful deep violet color, and I am going to just put it on the top of my page. And now I'm going to use the same brush, fairly wet, and I'm going to paint with it. Now this is really where it gets interesting, and I love, 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 love this color. So I'm again maintaining my border around my page, and I'm just going to bring it down a little bit, and I'm going to paint on this side. I have one accent, Suze. It's called William Wallace accent, and I love that part in Braveheart where he says, "William, where are you going?" And I say, "I'm gonna pick a fight." So I don't know if that's a good Scottish accent, but I tell my kids all the time, if you don't behave, I'm gonna pick a fight. Right, so now I'm doing the same thing. I'm just letting this beautiful purple color flow, just bringing it down, and look how lovely it is when it goes over the molding paste. So just gonna move, you play with your paint, and then you congregate them in one area and they go, and then you just move them around again. There you go. And I'm just going to paint a little bit of a wash just on this side as well. And I'm just painting around the leaves. Okay, there you go. So already this is getting a little dark for me. And then you want to let it dry, but you can see the most of the color is located at the top, and then at the bottom you have all this beautiful layers coming through. The only thing that I'm going to do now is I'm going to just add my my title on this one, and then I'll show you where it's dry. Okay, so this is the title. I'm just going to dry this fairly quickly, and then I'm just going to look if there's comments. Okay, I just want to dry this one area. You know what, I'm not going to dry it, I'm just going to dab it with my cloth, and then just then I'm just going to position my stencil and just scrape it through quickly. I'm making everything dirty, people. Okay. So here is a little bit of light molding paste again, and then I'm just going to scrape it through. Ta-da! Look at that. Isn't that pretty? The light. I love this name, the title of this page. You can just clean your stencil by putting it on a paper towel. And I reuse mine a lot. I use Canson watercolor paper. And in fact, let me show you something really cool. I want to give a shout out to my local Michaels in Prince Albert, Canada. This morning I placed an order online, and you can specify if someone can pick it up on your behalf. So I said yes, my children will pick it up, and look here, they just parked outside, and ta-da! I have my paper. So I ordered more of the Canson paper because I go through it quite a bit. So this is really cool. Oh gosh, what did I do here? Probably don't place this over your page. But anyway, okay, and now let me show you. Now this is my final prep page, and now we're going to start finishing up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my leaves again, and by now I almost know exactly where to put them. You just want to put them back more or less where they were. And then we are going to paint over them again. So okay, and last one. There you go. Okay, now we're going to use the same paint that we did earlier, but I'm going to add a little bit more white to it, and I'm going to add a drop of yellow. And this is where I love the Liquitex inks, because it really, you can add it to your paint and it just gives that little bit of color, and it's easy and simple. And because I'm inherently so lazy, that's why I love that. So now I'm just going to mix it in with this gorgeous pink, and then we have this beautiful warm light color. Might add a little bit of purple to that. Okay, this is perfect. Okay, now I'm going to use my palette knife, just going to clean it, and I'm just going to hold down my You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to use a paintbrush. Let me do what I preach. I'm going to use a little sponge. I'm going to use a little sponge. So I'm just going to put a lot of paint on it, and then I'm just using a clean piece of a palette and just dabbing most of the paint off. Now position your leaf to cover exactly how it did, and then we're just going to dab over it. This will give it a quite a graphic look. So you'll have a graphic design look to it, which can be so cool. Okay, and then this one. I think my children forgot our dog outside. So children, if you're watching, get the dog in. But I don't think they watch. I'll be highly surprised. Okay, so now, and this lighter color is just another layer, right? So that's what I'm doing. Okay. And I'm going to do the same on this side. I'm loving this page. I hope you are too, and I hope you make it with me. It's really not that difficult. Okay, it's quite a feat to just position your leaves to cover the previous okay, but you can see how lovely it looks. Okay, and then the last one, I'm just going to do exactly what I've been doing. All right, so now I'm just going to lift this up. And these leaves have been working so hard because I did all my prep pages with them as well. And I like the lighter color. I think it just gives another layer to it. So what I did with my watercolors, I very gently, actually if you have a spray varnish, that will work the best, but I very gently painted it with Mod Podge, and you can see there it did smudge a little, so just be very, very careful. But now you can see, if I'm placing my illustration there, how awesome it's starting to look. Okay, it's a makeup sponge, so you just use I buy them a packet of 20 at the dollar shop, which is awesome because then you can use them, rinse them, use them, rinse them, and throw them away, you know. And it's cheap. It's cheap. That's what I like. Okay, so now I'm going to stick down my illustration. If you do not have an illustration, what you can do is I will have it on my website. I've digitalized it, so you can get it on my website, the painted version, and then you can just paint it, and or you don't even have to paint it. You can just cut it out and with your hand scissors, and if you have a silhouette cameo, I'll have a little cut file for you as well. I'm just sticking my page down because I don't want it to curl up anymore. I'm sick of it. Not of this, but of this. Okay. So, okay, now I'm going to just use a little bit of Mod Podge. So I'm using a clean brush, and I'm just going to paint the back of this illustration. So ideally, you want to paint on something clean. So I'm not going to lay my illustration down, but if you have a clean piece of paper or clean paper plate, that's ideal. Now I'm just going to paint, and I'm using a fair amount of Mod Podge on the back, so I'm not being sparse, but not too much either. I don't know how to put it. Just Goldilocks, right? Who's the one that said not enough, or not too much, not too little, just enough? I think it's Goldilocks. Okay, so now I'm just painting this, and it's a mess, but it's okay. And I'm going to let it go down, and then I'll just gently push it down. So watercolor paper is a little harder, so it will take a little bit of time for the glue to penetrate the fibers, so you just have to be a little patient. And that's also where you know, just doing, oh, oops. No, you don't want to be painting over this, because you will make a mess out of it like I did there. Even though I did cover it with a layer of Mod Podge. So yeah, it just takes a little bit of time to stick it down. If it doesn't want to stick down properly, you can always use hot glue if you want to. But right now I'm just going to use a paper towel to flatten it out a little. I don't want to, or just a paper and a paper towel. And then just quickly lift it up, because you don't want your paper to stick to the Mod Podge. And there you go. I'm absolutely loving this page. I truly am. All right. Okay. Yeah, it does have a lot of depth to it, and it's because of the layering, and that's why I love it. Now I'm gonna freak you all out, because I want to add a pop. So black ink is my favorite, and I'm actually not going to use the dripper. I'm going to use a big brush. So I'm using this lovely brush by Roland Langnickel, and I'm just wetting it. It's a big round brush, and I'm adding lots of water to it. And now I just want to hold it high and let it drip. And then I want to do the same on this side. Look at that perfect drips. It's just perfect. Okay, but now you're like, oh, you covered your title. I know. And I'm going to fix that again with paper towel. So I'm just going to gently, and maybe I don't want it on my illustration as well. So I'm just going to take it off, but then I'm like, oh, but I really want that black. So let's try just a different spot, maybe. And just tapping it over my finger gently. And I'm loving this. All right. Okay, the fibers are getting really soft in the paper, so it's starting to stick. And then I want to just do one more thing, and you can actually do this with a pen, or you can use a paintbrush, or you can, however you want to. But You can, if you want to, just draw in the leaves that you just painted or stenciled. And this might be a very, very awesome little exercise in mindfulness. Ooh, I'm wobbly. So trying with a steady hand, just to add a little bit of detail to my layout, my art journal page. And I'm loving this little bit of detail because everything is messy and it's layered and it's washed, and then when you add a little bit of detail like that, it can just be really pretty. Let's do some here as well. And then I'm almost done. This is usually the part that I enjoy the most. I call it my embroidery phase. So this is nice, and then I can also, you can do a little bit on this side as well. I'm just a little careful because everything is still wet. And then even if your stenciling didn't go perfectly, you can just fill in the little bit of the spaces that you still want the illustration to go. Okay, so is there anyone that has a question? Now, because while I'm live, I can answer that. If you don't have questions, I just want to thank you so much for watching, and I probably will let this page dry completely, and then I will go ahead and add journaling, and I will finish up. Maybe I'll even tidy, the border around it with a little bit of white paint. And I will work on it. So maybe if you follow me on Instagram, mixed media paper would work perfectly. So if you follow me on Instagram, I will post my final page there in my stories or on my stories, and then I will have this illustration, the cut file, the leaf cut file, and the cut file for the title I'll have available on my website by tonight, and you can just go and grab it there. I'm going to make it free because I think we all need a little bit of happiness right now, and just having a little bit of creative time is the utmost happiness for me personally, and I just want to share that. I know you know what I do. Someone said I get stuck with the journaling, and I get that. And what I can say to that is just maybe start writing things down that you're thankful for. I think for all of us in this time, I was saying to a friend the other day, I can't even go to South Africa to get away from the COVID-19 virus. Because it's there as well. There's nowhere in the world we can go that will make this easier for us. So the only thing we can do is focus on our innermost being. We have to go inside ourselves, and I think this is a fantastic way to do that. And maybe just start writing things that you're thankful for. And I am absolutely a believer in the rewards that we get when we have a thankful heart, when gratitude is a part of our life. So that's one idea. We can actually just write things that, we are thankful for our homes, we're thankful for our health. There are people that has enormous challenges in the world right now, and if you're not one of them, then we can just be thankful. Then the last thing I want to say is I just want to leave you with this beautiful verse in John 14, verse 27. Jesus says, peace I give you, my peace and I give and bequeath to you. Not as the world give do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. Do not allow yourselves to be agitated and disturbed. Do not permit yourselves to be fearful and intimidated and cowardly and unsettled. That is the correct version of the verse. And I love it so much that I commit it to memory, because I have to remind myself so often during this time to not be afraid. And I just want to encourage you also. Just do not be afraid. We'll be good. Everything will be good. Okay. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, every single one of you. Thank you for your chat. Thank you for chatting to each other. I bless you, and I thank you so much for watching with me. And I will do another live video probably next week. I want to do a painting. So if you want to come and watch me paint and chat with me, I would love that. Okay, so let's do that and make art with me. Bye. So this is my studio, and this is the mess. I show you the pages, and now I can show you the mess. And I have some extra pages, so if you're in my area and you do art journaling, please come and grab some from me. Okay, sending you all my love. Bye.